Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me here on Make It Alexandria. I'm Elisa Kovach, your host. I am owner of Alexandria Makers Market, and I am so excited to welcome our guests tonight. We have Anne and Brian of Pawfectly Delicious. I was connected with this company through another local pet brand, Cosgo. Karen, the owner, said, listen, you have got to get a hold of these guys because they are so amazing. Their product is incredible, but then the reason they do what they do, that's really what you need to get to know. And so I got a hold of Anne, and here they are. I'm so glad to have them with me. So you guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us. What do you say?
Thank you.
Thank you. We're
Of
excited.
course, no, I'm so excited to have you guys. I'm just going to let you guys really us through this. We have so many pet lovers and dog owners here in the city. So that's an easy company to have here in Alexandria. You know, this is a dog friendly city. But I think what you do really sets you apart from some of the others. And I think I'm going to let you guys just intro. Tell me how and why you got started.
Okay. Well, we got started kind of informally, but I think just the backstory regarding the dog treat business started when Brian was aging out of special education services in his school district. And as we talked in the pre-show, the educators do a great job of trying to prepare young adults who are differently abled for life beyond high school. But there really is not an appropriate amount of engagement or programs that are created for young adults like my son or some of the other team members that work with us for when they get out of school. They're used to being in school for 8 or 9 hours a day, and when that goes away and they're 20, when they age out at 22, you're trying to figure out how you're going to keep them occupied. Some of us are still working full time and trying to live age gracefully, and you're wondering, how am I going to, what are we going to do for our adult children who have all of these different needs? So I was working full time at the education department, and I had and still have, she's a member of our board, my friend Holly, who'd known Brian since he was a young child, knew about his disabilities and said, you got to do something. You can't wait for an opportunity for somebody to give Brian a job. You got to figure out something for him to do, and you got to create it for him and make it for him. And right around the time Brian was aging out of school, my younger son was getting ready to go off to college. Now I had this harebrained idea of, let's get a dog because it'll keep Brian occupied when his brother is gone. And so when I was talking to Holly about that, she's like, oh my. She says, every Christmas she would make us these beautiful ginger cookies, beautifully decorated and everything. And then she told me, oh, now that you have a dog, you better watch it, because I hung those ginger treats on our Christmas tree and my dog, Tucker, ate them right off the tree. And then she said, that's what you can do. You and Brian can make dog treats and start a company, and you can use my recipe, which is basically a ginger snap cookie that we use really high quality ingredients as best as we can. And I'm like, oh, great, I can start a company. That's really wonderful. Still working full time, still trying to figure out what Brian was going to do. And so we started making them out of our kitchen here in Alexandria, mostly for friends and family. And the concept kind of took off. There was more demand for it. And I didn't want anything to turn into a for-profit type of enterprise. I wanted something that was going to be more of a community-based, more of from a nonprofit perspective. And so, I gathered around a lot of like-minded individuals, families, parents that we have met through Special Olympics, through a special needs Boy Scout troop that we were involved in. When your kids kind of all grow up together, when they have, they're like their peers, and you tend to gravitate towards their parents as well. And so we started the idea of forming this nonprofit. And I think from 2016 to actually when we became incorporated and an official 501c3 organization in 2018. It took a lot of work, a lot of elbow grease, and just trying to lay the foundation for what we wanted to do. And I always say that what we do is make dog treats, but why we do it is provide meaningful work and job training for young adults who are differently abled in terms of, intellectually, developmentally, physically challenged. We have a variety of young adults, working with us in the kitchen, in our packing of treats, in our farm stand and sales. And we're really, really, it gives me a lot of joy when I see the kitchen busy and the people out packing the treats busy, and you see the smiles on their face, and you realize that this is the hardest job you've ever loved. And, we just keep going. Brian, what do you think when you got out of high school? What were you telling me earlier today? You were saying, why do you like being involved in our company? Look at the camera right there. Look at Elisa.
What did I tell you today?
What did you tell me today? You were saying about a job when you got out of high school.
But when I got out of high school, it was very hard for me to find a job that would kind of suit my need and what I could do, how I would get there, right?
Right. It was kind of like it was good to have a built-in job in the household. But I think, as we talked earlier, the underemployment rate for young adults with disabilities is about 80%. And Brian, after 8 job coaches, was finally able to secure a very, very, very part-time job at Top Golf, where he's a greeter, and we're very grateful for that opportunity. But again, as I said, that's usually between 4 to 8 hours a week, and that's paid employment. And most 28-year-olds who are not do not have different abilities are usually working a 40-hour week, and they're also have an ability to earn an income. And so there is a huge gap, and there's a huge need for organizations and like mine to provide opportunities for young people like this. And what we've done through a partnership with Pulley Career Center, which is in Fairfax County, they have a vocational training program in culinary arts. We are now, or we have been for several years, working with that team to, they make our dough. So we're also kind of reaching, our mission is spreading to a broader range of young people in our community. They're getting job training in terms of working in the kitchen, learning how to measure, how to make sure they're properly, like I said, measuring ingredients, counting different types of things to put into the product, being responsible for hygiene, cleaning up the kitchen. So there's not just my team that's working in the kitchen, and we have been blessed to be able to use the church kitchen at St. Luke's Episcopal Church up until a year ago almost. And but the students at Pulley are getting the training, they're engaged, they're learning new skills. My team's engaged, they take that product from Pulley, they roll it out, they cut it, bake it, and pack it. And then I have another team, and these are small teams, of young adults who might be in day programs and other support services during the day, and they volunteer their time on the weekends, or we're volunteering their time on the weekends to sell either at pop-up shops or farm stand sales, things like that. And it's like I said, it's been really a great thing to see grow from an organic kind of perspective.
Well, I love that it has grown and it's really kind of starting to spread. First of all, your mission is amazing.
Thank you.
But I just find this so incredible, and it's such an interesting, hey, as your friend said, hey, you should make dog treats. And you just said, yeah, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And so I just from a very basic, this is you went very deep, and it's such a moving story that really shows the parental love and just your forethought of, okay, what are we doing for this long run, and the group of families that really you kind of grouped into this
Right,
bigger family
right.
of the Pawfectly
Yeah.
Delicious. But if you had told yourself 10 years ago, I'm going to run this company, would you or Brian, would you, either of you really have thought that that's where you would find yourself?
No, but I also want to give credit also to my husband, who's sitting in the background for moral support, because I wouldn't be able to do this without his support. And we've been, partners in parenting and in marriage and things like that. And, he's the one that's really heard my frustrations or my ideas or kind of kept me balanced and things like that. But no, 10 years ago, I was envisioning, I'm going to retire from my job and I'm going to do what I want to do. But the reality does, kind of slap you in the face like, oh my, Brian graduated. He stayed in school as long as he could. We decided to have him go to graduate school so he could stay until he was 22 at his school. And he did not go through a vocational training program like at Pulley or at the Davis Center or something like that. He wanted to be with the folks, the people that he had gotten to know for I don't know, 8 or 9 years that you were in high school. And so everybody has a different path for how they've gotten to where they are with us, but it's all the same, is that they all need a place to be, and it makes them very happy to be with people who are like them.
Well, I think that's incredible. And if there's anybody out there that's watching that hasn't really kind of gotten into your orbit yet, and you're looking for some opportunities or things like that, I really think that Anne might be the perfect person to reach out to. And I think you guys are doing a great job. And I know that this has been a very difficult year for small businesses in general, for nonprofits, I'm sure, equally or more so. And so tell me about some of just the speed bumps or challenges that you specifically have had to overcome over this last year for Pawfectly Delicious.
Oh, sure. I think we use that word pivot a lot. A lot of people don't anymore. I'm tired of hearing it. But we really had to figure out how to keep going. And when the pandemic kind of exploded, we were Brian is, I don't know why, he's usually not sleepy at this time of the day, but you're sorry.
Oh.
COVID was blowing up, and we were just bringing Brian home from a very an operation that he had to have as part of his treatment for his cancer. And all of a sudden, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is all kind of coming to a head." The church kitchen was closed. We had a whole lot of inventory at the time that I had stacked up in our little storage area, and I thought, "Oh, we'll be okay." But then, as we still got orders in, that inventory started to dwindle. And I was really panicking as to how we were going to be able to meet demand, and then also how we were going to pay our bills. And we weren't getting our dough from Pulley. And we were making it in home kitchens, which you can, because our treat, while it's human grade and it's delicious, that can be consumed by humans, it's licensed and registered in the state of Virginia as animal feed. And you can produce animal feed there's the dog. And it doesn't have to be in a commercial kitchen with a certified food handler. So we started making the dough in small batches in my kitchen and a couple other kitchens. And we soon realized it was tough to try and keep up with demand. We also wanted to keep a revenue stream going. So we did introduce a subscription service, which we talked about a little bit earlier, Alyssa, in the pre-show, which has been great because that we are able to kind of reach out to our customers who really like our product and who actually wanted to get it on a regular basis and not have to be able to, since we couldn't sell at the farmer's market, really at the beginning of COVID especially. And really, you can't just have somebody come to the farmer's market and say, I'm going to put dog treats on my list. They look for our team. The young people are they are our why, and they are who sell the product. So that was a huge dilemma because we couldn't have they're the face of our nonprofit, and they're the ones that kind of suck you in and kind of like, wow, I don't even have a dog and I'll buy these treats, that kind of thing. And, I think consumers now really want to put their money where there's some kind of cause that's making for the greater good. And I think that we have a following now that sees that and values that. And, that has kept us going. Our social media and trying to share our journey, not only from a dog treats perspective, but also from a human perspective. I mean, COVID has been really tough. And the year before was it was very tough, personally for Brian and for my entire family. And it impacted our organization because people had to really step up. I was grateful that I had such a great group of volunteers and, my friend Karen, who was working in the kitchen, and Terry Wilson and Charlie Flint, who's our operations manager, who still to this day delivers our local deliveries. So, we have been blessed to have a core team of people who really believe in what we're doing. And so that kind of gives you the volition, to kind of keep moving forward. And that's what we've been doing. And during the week, Brian has his little chores. What do you do? What do you help me with? Packing. We do not only packing of the treats, which these are our bags of treats. So we have an 8 ounce and a 4 ounce bag. The 8 ounce are bigger, obviously, and the 4 ounces are a little bit better for for smaller breeds of dogs. But Brian helps. Brian helps by weighing them. You weigh them. You put them. What do? You put them on what? On the scale. And so he helps with that. And then I pack them. And then also when we have to orders that have to go out, what do you do when we have to get our subscription orders ready? What do you do?
We package them.
We package the boxes and we get them ready for shipping. So, trying to keep him engaged in some way has been really good. And he'll say, Mom, what do we have to do today? Are we going to work today? Are we going to do treats today? And I know our head baker, Joseph, he is, his mom has also wanted to keep structure in his life and has several days during the week where he is doing the baking of our, the treats that go in our 8 ounce bags. And he really loves that. He takes pride in what he does. And I think you do the same. Yeah. When Brian knows he's got 4 ounces on the mark on the scale, that's a victory for him. And when Joey's able to produce, 12 bags of, 8 ounce treats, that's a victory. And that's something that makes them feel like they have meaning and purpose.
I absolutely agree. I need the structure in my day. So I think that this is amazing. I hope that you can see the chat. If you can't, I just wanted you both to know right now that you're receiving so many compliments about how great your dog treats are, how wonderful your company is, how nice the packaging looks. There is a question that I wanted to ask you guys from our audience. Are all the deliveries by mail, or do you have any pop-up sites now that things are opening back up?
We do. We have one in Delray, then we have one in on our 400 road.
Oh, are you talking about where we can sell?
Are you talking about where we can sell, or where people where we give our food for people to sell?
Oh, retail partners. Right now, we haven't gotten back into the pop-up business, but we hope that we will. We had a spot at a local farmers market, Fairfax County local farmers market down the road, and we pulled out of that last spring. We were selling our treats at the church where we have the kitchen on the weekend, and we have not gone back to that because that was very intensive every weekend, every summer. So when we got into another market that was midweek, it was a little bit easier for us to manage. But I are trying to explore that. We did pop-ups at West Elm down in Old Town.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Yeah, well, Ray, we did, we were at a couple different festivals, the Ides of Bark, another, well, Ray, there was another one we did, Alexandria Love Your Pet Day that we had. So right when we were kind of gaining some steam, then all of this happened, but we do have hopes to be able to get going again. But I would be remiss if I didn't give a shout out and say a big thank you to a couple people. And Karen Johnson from Posco, I mean, she was the first one. I mean, she emailed me and said, I found out about your nonprofit, I believe through Jody from Head to Tail, who's another partner of ours. And I really believe in what you're doing. And she really helped kind of get us into businesses in that community. Nature's Nibble, From Head to Tail, Bark House. We also do work with Whole Dogs. Chris and Ann from Nature's Nibble, both at the Hall and Hall location and Del Rey, they have been very, very supportive. And Karen made that happen. And I was really lucky to be part of their podcast. Karen, her sidekick Jean do a podcast, and that was really cool. And I just feel like there's so many people who really are there to support you and help you. And we've just been very blessed by that the local Del Rey community has been awesome. Passionately Pets, we've been connected with them. So, things are growing. Excited that we have this opportunity to be live talking with you, partnering with you. That gives me hope that we're on the right trajectory, that things are looking up.
And it's so interesting. There have been a lot of frustrations for me personally. It sounds like maybe for you too, because you think, now what do I do? This is how I've been doing it. How do I keep going? But that creative shift, at least for me, has opened up more collaborations. And it sounds like hopefully for you guys as well. And I actually think that that's more rewarding than how I was previously running Alexandria Makers Market. So for those that are watching, you guys need to go and partner with Pawfectly Delicious. They actually, in the chat, there are other recommendations for some guys from some coffee shop and some other area retail kind of places that might be like a really good partnership. So I agree with you. I think it does take a community, and maybe we wouldn't have known about all these options, but I think you're right. We can only go up, right? This has been a tough year, but we're moving forward. And what would you need for your business? I know that you were working with St. Luke's, but what would ideally get you back into that full swing operation?
Into the groove to catch up and to be able to have a substantial inventory. Oh, we need a rich uncle. That's why. Don't we all? Actually, kitchen space. Right now, the diocese in Washington of the Episcopal Church is not a lot. Nobody's gathering, and I get that, and so we have not been able to go back to our normal place, and we love it at St. Luke's. We love seeing the kids in the preschool. We love seeing Sue in the office. It's the organist who would come into the kitchen. We were kind of like had a good kind of connection there. But right now we need to bake. Commercial kitchens are really expensive. Even if we were to rent one for a day to try and really crank out some product, you have to worry about social distancing and things like that. But we don't have the funds right now, and we have reached out to other organizations that they don't bake dog treats, but they bake other products, and really haven't been successful trying to get our foot in the door or share a space with anybody. So space, at least in the interim, until we're able to go back to our normal home, which I'm hoping, and I believe from communications with the church kitchen that we will be able to go back there when it's safe to do. But right now, it's really hard to produce a lot of dough. Maybe now that school's back in, and the students at Pulley, they might be able to start doing some of that work. I have to I have to reach out to them and see what their plans are, because they're having to kind of reformulate their whole, education process for these differently abled students as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it out there that if anybody knows of something, a space that might be suitable, please contact the good people at Pawfectly Delicious, because that would be incredibly helpful at a time like this. So, and hopefully some stars will align in that capacity. I did want to share, we have partnered for a gift box because I also pivoted, and I completely agree with you. The subscription box and these kind of curated gift boxes, it's a steady number that you can anticipate, and it does help build the business or continue to grow the business. So we have a dogs rule Alexandria, which they do, and we had to include a bag of your treats because they are incredible, and everybody in the delivery is I'm sorry, in the chat, sorry, I just read the word delivery, is talking about it. And we've also included Pawfectly Delicious, Paws Go, and Truly Life, and so just a really good bundle of dog products to pamper your pet with. So if you are interested in that, you can find that on the Alexandria Makers Market website. But I also strongly encourage you to go and check out Pawfectly Delicious and their subscription box. And is there anything else that you would like to kind of let us know before we wrap up our session together?
Wow, it's gone so fast. We do, in honor of St. Patrick's Day, we do have some special treats we are selling. What do they call? They're called Lucky Dog.
Cute.
Dog up to shenanigans or no good. Lucky Dog treat. But these are our signature treats that we make around the holiday times, and they're same all natural ginger dough, and we do a light meringue glaze, and they are hand stenciled and packaged, and they're for sale. They're limited in quantity, and they're for sale on our website, as well as bandanas that we do not make the bandanas, but if you want to dress your dog up as a Pawfect pooch, you can buy bandanas.
Yeah, our Christmas we have the dog treat say night. So if is bad, you can give him
The naughty bone.
The naughty bone, but if he's good, you can give him the nice bone.
Yes, those have been big sellers, and maybe something that you might consider doing a special Christmas holiday box.
That's
we also
cute.
call dreidel dog for those that celebrate Hanukkah too. So
Cute. Brian, I have to ask, did your dog Friday get the naughty or the nice Christmas treat?
You know what? Friday's like the shoemakers whose children have no shoes. I think he got a broken bone, and I think it was naughty. He wears a naughty nice bandanas too, and he wore the naughty one because Friday gets into quite a bit, so he's on the.
That's so funny. Brian, and thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm so thankful to have you here. I'm so thankful for what you're doing. I think a lot of people are behind you and your mission. It sounds like you kind of have this following already, but I'm just going to encourage everybody to go follow you on social media, go to your website, and guys, social right now, as Anne has kind of mentioned throughout the show, word of mouth recommendations, social media shares, and prop ups, those help small businesses more than you will ever know. And so I will encourage you to go and give some cheer to Pawfectly Delicious. So thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Elise. We're very, very humbled that you chose to talk to us. So thank you.
Yeah, you're the best. Thanks so much. Guys, it was so much fun to talk to them. They're incredible. I have so much respect for their mission. I really just hope that you would go and encourage you, any dog lovers or pet owners out there, please go check them out. And it sounds like there's a lot of small businesses in this community that already do partner with them. So I encourage you to go and check them out as well. Next week on this show, Make It Alexandria, we will welcome the founders of Project Buna, and they are a coffee roaster here in Alexandria. I'm really excited to talk to them because I'm a huge coffee lover. So we've partnered in a few different ways in this last month, and just excited to get to know their story a little bit more. And later in the month, we will have our March DIY. And throughout the entire month, we have our March of Makers. So the March DIY, just as a reminder, that is a pre-order. As Anne was talking about, pre-ordering and subscriptions, those help small makers know exactly the numbers that they need. That is kind of the same for us. So you need to pre-order this, and the kit will be ready for our show on the 25th. You go to our partner restaurant, which is TBD at the moment, and then you pick up your kit and your dinner, and then you join us back here, and we will assemble that all together and have a nice little evening together. But then for our March of Makers, it's happening that's kind of a separate event for Alexandria Makers Market. And you should just follow along on Instagram. That's the best place to find all the action. But if you need some more details, you can find it on our website. Guys, it's been a really, really fun time hanging out with Pawfectly Delicious, and thank you all for joining us. It has been wonderful. Come back to ZTV next week on Monday for Living on Music Monday with Steve Hauk. His guest is going to be Tom Rush, who's a little bit of a Renaissance man in music. So it should be a really, really fun show. And until then, guys, thank you so much for continuing to shop local, shop small, and whenever possible, make it Alexandria. Guys, go and be the good news in someone's life.